Hey, hey. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to the recap of the Walking Dead universe. We are here live every week to discuss the latest episodes. You can catch our recaps at any time, available on most major podcast platforms. Get new and past episodes for free in the app of your choice, including YouTube. For those of you joining us live tonight, thanks for taking out of your evening to be here. I'm your host, Tamara, and I love a good TV show and a good book. So if you'd like to reach out to me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at The Recap Pods. And if you like books, you can also find me at Shelf Addiction. Joining me is show co host Lisa. Welcome, Lisa.
Hey, Tamara. Hey, everyone. My name is Lisa Orban. I am an author. I am also the founder of Indies United Publishing House, and I love all things pop culture. If you'd like to connect with me online, you can pretty much find me everywhere at Lisa Orban Author or at Indies United Pub.
All right. So before we get going, we want to remind you that we would love your participation in this conversation. So if you are listening live on YouTube or Facebook, hit us up in the comments section. If you're catching us on a replay, you can still comment on any platform, or you can even call us by using the voicemail link in the show notes. So we do want to hear from you and possibly include your comments in upcoming episodes. If you are new to the podcast, we are laid back in our review style, right, Lisa?
Absolutely, Tamara. This is a conversation, not a dissertation.
Yes, no scene by scene breakdowns here. We jump around a lot. Huge spoiler alert for everything, every show throughout the world through yesterday's episode.
Yep.
So, yeah, we don't go forward, even though we could.
Yay. And we're live tonight.
And we're live tonight. So yeah, let's jump into it. Today we are talking about episode 22. So there's two more left after this.
I know. It feels so weird. We have been on this long journey together, Tamara.
I know.
And I mean, we will continue because there are spin-offs and everything else, but our flagship is going away. You know.
I know. It's sad. Like this has been the glue to everything forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been our touchstone for the other shows, and yeah, I'm feeling a little nostalgic.
Yeah, because when the other shows went to crap, we kind of had this to fall back on, right? We could
Mm-hmm.
rely on it to not be completely crappy like some of the other attempts, but
Mm-hmm.
now we won't have this either.
I know. So, I mean, we know that there's spin-offs, but I mean, we're going to be saying goodbye, whether they die or not. We're saying goodbye to characters.
Yes.
The vast majority will probably just fade away forever, and
Yeah.
then they'll just be gone. You
Right.
know, and so yeah, I mean, it's at this point, win, lose or die. Um, they're still not going to be around.
Exactly. Because even if the characters that make it through and they survive, actors move on, right?
Hmm. Oh
Who
yeah,
knows if they want to revisit different characters past or not. By that time, who knows who wants to do it, who's left, so it's kind of like officially closed.
right. So yeah, we've got this episode to talk about, and then two more, and then
We are finished.
we're finished with the flagship.
I know. And it kind of feels like we are kind of heading toward that finish line at breakneck pacing because they're
Hmm.
really trying to like jam everything into these episodes.
Oh yeah. I mean, I will say the 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 pace of the episodes I'm really enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
And I do wish it's something that they would have embraced more, prior to this, just as a standard for
Yes.
how a show should be paced.
Yeah, because we had a lot of episodes over the seasons that were really filler, just
Yeah,
straight up filler.
yeah, they were just like nothing really happened. No one ever did anything. It was just I mean, they weren't necessarily terrible,
Right.
but nothing truly happened, so I thought, but I am really enjoying how they have paced out this final segment of the series.
Yes. I
So
am too, although I am concerned that I'm gonna be a little unsatisfied at the end only
yeah.
because, we know that they've got to wrap up the Commonwealth thing, right? And I don't
Mhm.
think that we are gonna necessarily see ties to the CRM like we're expecting or
Right.
wanting. So I think although there's a lot of things to like about 11C, um, I think I'm gonna be left wanting a little bit, and
Yeah.
that saddens me.
And I can't really say, I mean, because again, we've only got 2 more episodes after this one.
Yeah,
So, they have a lot of ground to cover, in 120 minutes. Well, not even that,
yeah,
80 minutes.
exactly.
So, it's gonna be I'm interested to see how they use those 84 minutes.
Yes, definitely, me too. Because everyone's gonna some people have already seen 23
Mhm. But they're
already.
gonna have to wait for that final episode.
Yeah, so thankfully they managed to hold something back,
Mhm.
because otherwise we'd be all spoiled right now if
Yeah,
somehow people had access to 24.
right.
But
You know
thankfully they've been holding tight to that episode.
I will say this, doing a little bit of reading
Mhm.
today, and I'm gonna agree with a lot of other people, and we've talked about this before. So, in this episode, Negan, basically
Mm,
sets himself up as, to be the martyr. He's
mhm.
going into it, supposedly with the idea that, yes, he's gonna die, but his wife and child will live.
Mhm.
They'll give, rise to a movement. He was all ready to martyr himself. All right.
Yes.
But because we all know Negan's gonna make it,
Yes.
it wasn't, I mean, it was a good scene. God, it was a good scene. And if we did not know that Negan had a spinoff show, I would have been sitting on the edge of my chair.
Same. Same, but just because of that,
Because of that, I'm like,
it
yeah, we all know
yeah,
he's gonna make it.
like, we
And by
don't know how
default,
he get out of it exactly, but we
right.
know he's not gonna die.
And by default, we know that every person standing up with him is going to live too.
Yes.
Because they're
Although
not gonna mow every other person down and let Negan be the one man standing. You know?
exactly. Although for those couple of minutes while Ezekiel was trying to figure out what he wanted to do, I
Mhm.
kind of felt, like, a little bit scared for Annie just for those few minutes, but as soon as he walked over there, I said, "Oh, they're both fine.
Right.
Nothing's gonna happen."
Exactly. So, but I did enjoy the I mean, they did do a good job of trying to build the tension and stuff. It's just it wasn't quite as good as it could have been because again, we know Maggie's gonna make it, we know Negan's gonna make it, we know Daryl's gonna make it, we know Carol's gonna make it.
Yes.
So there wasn't as much. Yeah, I mean, it was it was a well put together story.
Mhm.
Um, I just really wish they had they could have, and again, I really wish they could have announced that there's going to be spinoffs, but not announced who's going to be the spinoffs for until after the final episode.
Yeah, they could have done that. I know they wanted this big thing for Comic-Con, and they
Mhm.
could have done only Rick and Michonne, and those
Right.
fans would have loved it. They could have said,
Exactly.
"There's 2 unidentified spinoffs that we're not gonna share with you, but there's 2
Mhm.
of those and Rick and Michonne," and everyone would be so excited.
Exactly. Yeah, and there would be a lot of anticipation. Who's going to make it? Who isn't going to make it? What's this? Is it going to be based on these characters? Is it going to be something completely different? They could have given us just enough to chew on and wonder about,
Mhm.
and
Because
then
we could have been going back on that this whole season. We could have been trying to figure out who it is,
mhm.
what it is. That could have been a whole point of contention.
And the thing of it is they could have at the after the final credits roll on the final episode, bam, Negan and Maggie, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, bam, Daryl. Could
Mhm.
have had it done a They could have done a whole special on that.
Oh, definitely. Well,
Hey, now that this, the big secret, the big reveal. They could have announced it all on the Talking Dead afterwards.
mhm.
With those four characters, and or the three characters anyway, and the big reveal, and it would have been it would have been fun.
Yeah, cuz even like thinking about some of the photos that have been shared, it's been minimal.
Hmm.
It's been like things that AMC has released on purpose
Yeah.
and other things like that. So I feel like maybe the diehards, the people who are really sleuths, maybe they would have found something to expose what it was, but it would have just been hearsay, right?
Hmm. And we could. So yeah, I don't know, but like I said, this episode, I mean, you can see them trying to build the tension down in the sewers, with Daryl
Mhm.
and Connie. And
Mhm.
she's just like, "You okay?" And he's like, "Fine." She's, "I don't think you're fine, dude.
You don't look fine.
You don't look fine. You're not. You're acting a little anxious. I mean, I realize we're in a dark tunnel and there's walkers, but the, for the world they live in, that wasn't a dangerous place to be. You know
Mhm.
what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
These were walkers that had been there for a while, and I'm wondering where. I was kind of curious because I don't I know it wouldn't have been their people because um they wouldn't have left him in the tunnels. So I'm kind of wondering where the walkers came from.
I don't know, maybe they just somehow found their way down there? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even know if it matters really.
it doesn't. It was just one of
Yeah.
those points of curiosity.
Mhm.
Because they all the tunnels seem to have grates on them, so I don't know if maybe these are people that just died trying to seek refuge or something.
Yeah, like hiding out and then they just
Mhm.
passed away and here they are.
Yeah,
Mm, maybe.
and I so and then we kind of circle back to Aaron's group, and
Yes, which we see a few characters we haven't seen since season 10, right?
I know I was shocked. I was
Yeah.
tickled even.
I was like,
Finally,
"Oh, look, there they are." I'm like, "There
they
go a few
finally
people."
returned.
Yes.
And so we at least know that not everyone was slaughtered at Oceanside. Um, I'm gonna go with probably a lot of people were, but not everyone.
Yeah, because what did Luke say? Luke said they
To run.
took over, right?
Yeah, right. And again, this was still back when they were saying, "Oh no, we're gonna make a deal."
Mhm.
And now I am confused about one thing.
What's that?
All right, so um, what's her name knows, she makes this deal with Carol, for her people,
Mhm.
and allows them to pack up supplies on this wagon and sends them on their merry way to Oceanside. Is she
Okay.
is does she not know what's going on at Oceanside, or was she aware and just assuming that they'd get snagged up being unaware?
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Because I'm just because I don't think she was in on Hornsby's plan for these communities.
And once Hornsby was, put into jail, I'm sure whatever soldiers were left started singing whatever they knew.
Right.
So she
So she's
probably was aware of what was happening there at that point.
mhm.
I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's the only thing I'm it doesn't quite make sense. I mean, then again, she's probably saying, "Oh, well, look, you know, they're taking the supplies to Oceanside Forest, and they'll just, gather them up and turn them into slaves. It's all good."
Yeah, because if they turn okay, so like let's just assume they decide that they want to turn Oceanside to another outpost, right?
Which they did because
Yeah.
that's what happened.
What did what did they do with those people?
I'm assuming that anyone that stayed alive is being pushed into forced labor like they did at Alexandria and
Mhm.
Hilltop.
Mhm. 'Cause I'm like, okay, because of the way that Luke and Jules said they took over, I feel like even if Hornsby did kill some of them, I don't think it was, like, a lot of them, because wouldn't the first thing out of their mouths would have been like, "They took over and they killed a bunch of our people."
Well, no, because they said when they first arrived, she Oceanside leaders told as many people to as could to run.
Yeah.
So I think that they took off before the showdown.
Hmm.
That's
Yeah.
at least that's my guess because I'm pretty sure they would have said, "Oh yeah, had us all lined up." You
So
know,
you still think a good amount of people were killed?
it's I don't know. I mean,
Hmm.
again, they left it very ambiguous. It could have gone either way. But the fact is they had him rounded up. They were going to turn the place into another work camp. Might as well keep the people alive to work it. You
True.
know.
I don't know, but, I don't think honestly, I feel like that is the last we're gonna hear about Oceanside. I feel like whatever Luke and Jules had to share, that's about the extent of it, unless we get
Hmm.
a glimpse at the very, very end.
Hmm.
There's no time to go back and revisit that again.
But and then of course they're all getting trapped by the jeeps and everything else, and then they fall in with the walkers.
Which, I mean, we all hated the Whisperers, but the Whisperers' ways have saved them more than a few times.
Oh yeah. Now they have used these techniques prior to, but never with the skill that
No, and
Lydia
they were
got.
never wearing their mask before. They were wearing blood before,
Mhm, and they
but they
did this time too.
yeah,
You know.
but they never learned how to walk with the walkers
Hmm.
before, um, which, by the way, can I just say, they did kind of insert one of these variants into that
Yeah,
walker group.
yeah. That's what I was why I brought it up because one of them dropped their knife, and then a walker dropped to the ground and picked it up. So we have another variant.
Yeah. Which who said that? Was it, Elijah this called the other ones climbers? So they've
Hmm.
already kind of, like, named them something,
Yeah.
although I think that was only because he saw them climb in that case, and
Right.
apparently they can do a lot more than climb.
Hmm.
Uh,
So
yeah.
that our intrepid explorers are probably at least one of them is going to die in that horde.
Yes, because I'm like, that must be setting it up. Like,
Hmm.
something's gonna happen. Someone's gonna get out of line, make a move, something's gonna go wrong, and that walker is gonna be right there with that knife to
Hmm.
disable them. Even
Yep.
if it may not know exactly what it's doing, like
Well,
with forethought.
all it needs to do is make someone scream
Yeah.
or make a unwalker noise.
And
So
everybody will be, well, maybe a couple people might die if they can't keep it together, and
yeah,
everyone else just silently cry for the lost comrade.
right.
Because if
I
everyone
think
starts screaming and running and trying to fight, the whole herd will just take them all out.
right. I think Lydia will survive that. Because she's disciplined in this particular thing.
Mhm.
I think her boyfriend will die.
You think Elijah's gonna bite it?
Yeah, because he's already shown to be a little bit flighty.
Yeah, and
And
definitely I feel like Luke and Jules are, hate to say it, but they're easy ones to take out, like, we
right,
saw them again, but bye.
yeah, this was their goodbye.
Yeah.
I think Aaron might make it, but then again, if they're going to kill off a major character, this would be a good time for him to die.
Mhm. Well, if everyone walks away from that horde, I'm gonna be like, "Okay, what what were you trying to set up?" Because I surely don't think they're gonna wait for that walker to just carry a knife all the way to wherever they're trying to herd them to.
Right. My guess is they're trying to herd him to Alexandria.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yep.
Hmm.
And of course, here's the thing: everyone's now just start. everyone's got a little piece of a puzzle that may or may not be accurate.
Right.
Um, but the end in the end, everyone they're assuming that the other people got away. Um, Aaron and their group is probably assuming, oh yes, the rest of our people will be at Alexandria,
Mhm.
and they're not aware of the status of Alexandria, although they should probably assume.
Yeah, they should
And
assume that because they did that to Oceanside, they may not get what they think they're gonna get when they go to
right,
Alexandria.
so I think they're taking the herd to Alexandria,
Mhm.
um, for two reasons. One, for cover, but second, if something is going on there, they have Lydia and others in the group are skilled now, or more skilled than they were with guiding and herding the walkers.
Right.
So they could be a great diversion to try and rescue people or help them or whatever,
Or
or
just be a
dispersement.
distraction in general to
Right.
yeah.
And they also know that at this point they can disperse them if they need to.
Yeah, I mean, but honestly, with, the soldiers having those guns, we know they can just mow them down if they want to. They've done it before.
Oh yeah,
So,
if their Jeep doesn't fall over.
Mhm.
you know. Um, but I did like the the rescue of because it really wasn't. I mean, it was a little bit of a rescue, but not a huge. It wasn't a dun da da. We're here to save the day, because at that point they had already um started to turn the tide.
Oh, you mean when Daryl and them ran up on
Mm-hmm.
Negan and group?
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, though, I kinda did expect that because they were sitting up there watching them. So I'm
Yeah.
like, "Oh, they're gonna come down and do something."
Right.
But what? And, of course, he goes and stabs the bad, guy in the back, like,
Yeah.
"Oh, he got him."
And then of course we have Carol and Maggie doing their whole stealth mode thing through the house, looking for the
Stealth,
kids.
not stealth. I mean, they were pretty good, but then, of course, Rosita comes in and she's loud and rowdy.
Right.
"Where's Coco? Where's Coco?" Now, I did wonder this, though. Why was Herschel separated from everyone else?
I don't
Like,
know.
where were the other kids? Not just Coco, but where
All of
were
them.
all of them?
Well, and he was crying,
Mhm.
and tied to a chair, which I thought
Mhm.
was a little odd. Um, so yeah, and he appears to be the only
Yeah.
child left, because Carol and Maggie said they've searched all the houses.
That's weird, right? Like, what did
Hmm.
they do with them?
Well, because right before they killed the governor there that of Alexandria, you know, he did say you have no idea what's going on.
Mm. Oh, goodness.
And apparently he may be the only one there that knows where those children went.
But then that leads me to question, why did they keep him? Was it just because of Maggie?
I don't
Like,
think so, because they didn't even have Maggie.
no, I mean, were they trying to lure her? I mean, why? I, it doesn't really make sense to me. Why
No, it
him?
doesn't. And it seeing that, I kind of dashed our theory that it would be Maggie and Negan going up to New York because they're going after his wife and her son.
Mm-hmm.
So that theory is blown right out the window.
Right. Yeah, weird. Maybe we'll get an answer to that next week.
Yeah, I'm assuming we will. Now it's possible because Pamela loves her paperwork, man. She is an she's an old school politician who loves paperwork. My guess is they're probably going to find at least a clue somewhere in his office.
Mm-hmm.
It may not tell them maybe like exactly where the kids are, but there's probably a memo or addendum or something of what to do when children are shipped, protocols, something. They'll find something, some little scrap of paper. And of course, it's not going to be, this is our nefarious plan.
Right. It's
But
gonna be kind of like what Michonne found, like, "Oh,
right,
I found this drawing or something odd, and now I'm gonna go search."
right. It could even be, like a transfer slip,
Yeah.
you know,
But with the
transferring blah 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 individuals to, station 23 or whatever.
well, with this new development, I feel like my theory has, like, reformed itself about the whole Mackie and Negan thing.
Mhm.
So, let's assume that Annie survives. I feel like Annie had her moment where she could have died and she didn't, so I
Mhm.
kind of feel like she's safe now. I don't think they'll kill a pregnant woman. So let's say she makes it out. And then, of course, you know, Maggie found Herschel. So maybe Herschel stays with her and the two of them go off to find the other children.
Mhm.
Maybe because I still have on my death list, Rosita is on it.
Yeah, I know.
And I still feel she is a very strong contender
Her
after that
actually,
performance.
yeah, because I mean, and her and Gabriel both. I'm kind of, because they've spent kind of a lot of time with the two of them, um,
Hmm.
in this last in the last couple of episodes, and that's usually suspect.
Yeah.
Giving fans a chance to say goodbye, so to speak.
Yeah. I don't
So,
know. I still Gabriel, yeah, I don't know, but that would be a good reason for them to go is if Rosita is dead, she can't
hmm
go because she would not stay behind if she was alive.
yeah. But what
If
about
that
all of but Jerry and all of his kids?
well, that's a good question.
Unless he gets eaten by he gets eaten by the zombies.
Well, Jerry was on my list too.
Yeah, no. I'm really hoping for a King Jerry in that kingdom.
And Jerry was in there with those walkers with the knife,
Hmm
the one with the
Yeah, I
knife.
know.
So I don't know. I don't know. I can't. I Well, we know his wife is alive, right? Right now
hmm
she is because she
Right,
was with Negan and all them.
right. So we saw her.
Yeah,
She was one of them that popped up right
stood up.
after
Yeah.
Ezekiel did.
Mhm.
And it was, and it is kind of interesting because Negan knows, this, warden or whatever you want to call him. Let's call him the warden, not rather than governor.
Yeah.
Um, he knows this guy because he was this guy. And I did get kind of a chuckle. He's like, I thought you were the leader, but obviously you are not. You're not that kind of a person. And I'm
No.
thinking, oh, dude, you have no idea who you're talking to. You know,
And he's just fine letting you make that assumption.
right. Make the assumption that I am harmless, or at
Mhm.
least not dangerous.
Right.
Talking to one of the most dangerous men that's ever been on the show.
Basically. And Negan was right when he was talking to Annie. He's like, I know men like him. I have been him. I'm him.
Yeah.
So he knows exactly how he operates. And he pays attention to everything. Like when the soldier came in, was he 197?
hmm
He noticed
The
and he
grip.
kind of smiles
hmm
about it. Like, okay. So this is the same soldier he asked to let Annie have a break, the same soldier that is upset about not seeing his brother, the
Who's
same
sick?
soldier he pleads to, don't be this, don't do this, when
hmm
they're about to be shot. So he knew that guy had a little softness in him that
Yeah.
would bend.
Well, and you can see that, and it's also setting the framework that most of these soldiers don't want to be here.
They're just following orders because they have some type of threat being held over them.
Right. Their families are being held hostage, essentially on their good behavior.
Mhm.
These are not people that, for the most part, want to be where they are.
Yeah.
Now, that's not saying that's everyone, but when other people started lining up and with Negan and stuff, you can see there's the one guy there at the front that's like, nope, nope, still gonna shoot people. It's all good. But the rest of them were like, I don't know about this. This is, you know,
Yeah,
You
and
know,
after the
I have
one guy
doubt.
put his gun down, the others kind of slowly put their guns down too. Like, what
Mhm.
are we gonna do? Nothing, I guess.
Right. You can and you could kind of see that they're not, and again, not all of the soldiers, because you know there are some people that just like the power trip,
Hmm.
but uh, the majority of them there seem to be there in are as involuntarily there as the prisoners themselves.
Right.
The only difference is in theory they'll be able to go home
Right. After
at some
their
point.
duty is done or
Hmm.
whatever their service term is, sure, you
Hmm.
can go home. So we say until we get a reason for you not to or a reason for us to extend your service.
Hmm. And I'm getting the feeling that the extension has been
Hmm.
going on for a while,
Yes.
because the warden basically said, "Oh, I see that you try to circumvent me. 6 more months."
I know. So it's like a punishment.
Hmm.
So, although you're here as a soldier and you're working for the Commonwealth and you're supposed to be getting more privilege, more things, you're still a prisoner.
Right. I mean, they're still stuck out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And while they may not be doing the heavy labor, I mean, they're being separated from their family, from their friends, from their kids, their life, and it does appear that the terms of duty and the length of their station is entirely subject to the whims of the warden and anyone else above them.
Mhm.
And so I think you can see that that there's, if these were dedicated, committed soldiers, they wouldn't have put down their guns if they really, if they were, all about it. But
No.
as you can see, out of the 5 soldiers lined up, only one of them kept their gun up.
Right.
So,
And
4
it's
out of
time
5 soldiers say this sucks.
the tides are turning,
Yeah.
honestly. So after, the warden was killed, and clearly that group has infiltrated Alexandria.
Mhm.
So I feel like now it's going to be this guy helping them. Like, they're going to choose, what they want
Mhm.
to do, who they're going to help.
Well, and did you notice that the one soldier that had gotten set there as a prisoner, who was like, "No,
Mhm.
no, no, I can't. We tried this before. It's not going to work." He stood up with Gabriel in the group.
Yeah, that was the same guy who tried to come for Pamela and
Mhm.
failed.
Yeah.
And that was the same guy that Princess had punched out in the face
Yeah.
at the beginning. Oh, that guy is, and then he got sent off to the camp to work.
Mhm. But and when he's like, "No, no, no, we can't do this," but then it wasn't just Negan. It was the rest of his group standing with him, and stuff, that he came with them.
Hmm.
Um so I have a feeling that in the next episode he's going to have some kind of a part in this. And
Hmm.
those soldiers, I mean, that was basically a mutiny.
Oh,
They mutinied.
definitely. It was. They went against what he said. And actually, the one soldier, 197, he was going to shoot him,
Hmm.
but he didn't get the chance. But
Yeah.
he was going to.
Yeah, Daryl took care of it, don't get me wrong, but they would have gotten him either way.
Yeah.
So all these soldiers that basically threw down their arms and allowed all of this to happen, I mean, they're at this point they're mutant. Well, it's not technically mutiny because they're not on the water, but you know what I mean.
Right. And
They're
it's only
AWOL.
gonna get worse because, I mean, I wanna switch storylines before we, totally talk about oh boy. Let's talk
Mhm.
about that fiasco of a trial,
Oh God.
and then we'll come back around and see about how the soldiers will, change. But
Hmm.
that trial was such
A sham.
it was a sham. And of course, Yumiko pretty much knew that. She's like, "We're not gonna win."
Right. We're not playing for the judge. We're playing
Right.
for the people up in the gallery.
Right. We want to sway the people,
Hmm.
and we have the bigger goal in mind here,
Right.
uh, which, he was down for. He kind of knew, in his opinion, he was going to die the whole
Right. I
time.
mean, he is. he has accepted the fact that he is going to die from the very moment he stepped into the police station.
Yes.
Okay, the best outcome at this point is raising the rabble to do something.
Yes.
And to get enough, and not just the common people, but to get enough of the soldiers and the others to, start to question, why are things this way?
Mhm.
They don't have to be this way.
Yeah. And I think, at the end there, when he was able to speak for himself, I feel like his little speech hit home for a lot of people,
Mm-hmm.
um, including what's his face?
Mercer.
Mercer, because he's sitting there
I
looking,
I
he's
think
listening.
Mercer. I think Mercer had that plan pre verdict.
I agree. I think that I think he was already turning, right?
Right.
And then when Yumiko came to him, he was already thinking ahead. So he
Mm-hmm.
told her no, but I think he was already thinking something else.
I Because here's the thing: the soldiers that had Eugene would have had to been placed with him prior to that final trial.
Mhm.
So something tells me before Yumiko got there, before the trial, he has seen what's going on with his sister, and I think that that day that he had, where the series of people going, every person you admire would be ashamed of you, hit it has really hit home. But Mercer's not impulsive,
He
so
was playing the long game, right?
he
He
was
wanted
playing
to
the long
hide
game,
as long as he could, right?
right?
Who
And
wants
I
to
think
say, "Hey, I'm going against you"? No.
and I think that's why he said to Yumiko, "No, I can't," because he already has a plan.
Right. And
Because
that
he
plan is to like totally catch, Pamela unawares. She
Right,
thinks he is in her pocket, you know?
when she is feeling the most invulnerable, when she
Yeah.
thinks she's the most bulletproof, so to speak,
And he's
is when.
doing it quietly.
Hmm. And I think he's picking his soldiers
Mhm.
and doing this methodically. So the trial is the show to show the people
Right.
this is bad.
Right.
um and the crocodile tears.
Oh my gosh, can we just can we talk about this was the craziest. I'm like, woman, there is no way. Like I understand she loved her son, but this was for sure over and above. She was
Yeah.
trying to win an Emmy or
Oh
something
yeah.
with this performance.
My son was a good boy. No, he wasn't.
No,
you
he
know
was a shitty person.
and
So,
honestly, she really didn't like him all that much. I
no.
mean, let's be truthful. She was disappointed in him, frustrated, disgusted at times. I mean, he was her son, and I know in the back of her head she was convinced that at some point she could whip him into shape.
Yes, she thought she could, she thought she was doing that, but then he went off and went on a rampage spewing all this nonsense on tape, which by the way, the biggest fiasco
Oh yeah.
on top of her fake ass crying was she says that wasn't Sebastian's voice. I'm sitting there like, "What the?"
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
I think everyone in the gallery was like, "What?" All the people were like, "What?" That just didn't make any sense at all. But
And I mean, she's in her mind, I control the military, I control the judge, I control the flow of information. I can say anything I want, and they have to accept it as true.
look, not to get political, but can you see the irony of how close to that is to real world? I
Oh
said
God.
it, so it's true. End of story.
Right. Reality be damned.
Right. The facts be damned. I
That's
said
right.
it, and that's what it is.
You know,
And she's doing that.
exactly. Because in her mind, this is her world. She controls, and she has for many, many years.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, it's not that it's not unreasonable for her to think this, because again, she has been the leader since the 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 whole zombie apocalypse started.
Mhm.
building up this community and doing the things that need to be done and utilizing people like Hornsby.
Mhm.
And, I think it, and so I don't think she even questions that people will doubt what she says because this is her world. She built it.
She is delusional though, because you could tell that there was some outrage in the crowd, right? You could tell.
Right. But here's the thing. Those are the poor people.
I know.
The poor people don't count in this community. And, and her son essentially says that in that little, recording. They don't matter. They're window dressing, they're workers. They're here to provide.
Until they all gang up on you.
Mhm. Her show was for the people in the chairs, the what she considers the powerful people in the community. Um it and she convinced the rest of them, the gallery, fine, whatever. But that's not who she was playing for. And she couldn't care less.
But that's who Yumiko was playing for.
Right.
Because if
And
you get the masses, get like word spreads like wildfire.
mhm. And and Eugene, actually put together a pretty good speech.
Right.
I fell in with a bad, there's a time in my life I was a bad person. I should be dead.
Oh,
you know.
definitely. You remember how bad he was at the
Oh
beginning? We're like, ew, he's the worst. I mean, even when he came across Negan and he just crumbled like
yeah. Oh
a
yeah.
person with no spine at all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he said, at this point I am trying to redeem myself for all my sins.
Yep.
And there are many. But these people took me in and they protected me and they've cared for me. Um and I realized that, what community meant. What it means to, be a part of a community.
Yes.
And and you can see that, I mean, even Mercer was kind of looking at him, a little differently.
Yeah, I
'Cause
think he had respect for him when he walked into the police station, quote unquote,
mhm,
but he had even more for him during that speech. He just
yeah,
maybe he is worthy of my sister, maybe.
right. Because he's,
Yeah.
Eugene wasn't trying to gloss over the person he had been. You
Right.
know, I was an awful person. you know,
Well, that ties into not just him trying to make this speech so, touch people, but he really thought, I'm about to die, so I might as well confess all my sins
right?
and
You
just
know,
lay it out because he thought he's gonna die.
oh yeah.
So,
You know, so you've got all that going on. By the way, I did find out the very final line that Mercer says
yes.
was completely ad libbed.
Oh, yeah, I heard that too. And they used one of those very rare F-bombs.
Uh huh.
They used it, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it is time to F some stuff up. Let's
Yes,
do it.
it is.
Let's do it."
And I mean, and it really was
Yeah.
perfect for that moment.
Yeah,
Um,
basically.
because Eugene is, I mean, he really, they've got him walking down. They got the hood over his head. They're not saying anything to him. I mean, he is sure he is walking to the firing squad.
Well, which, by the way, they're like, "Oh, execution in an hour." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, justice is swift in this community.
Yeah.
Um, so, but so I mean, that's exactly what he's thinking. I am walking to my death right now,
Yeah. He's
and
looking at him like he looks so confused. Eugene looks so confused, like, "What's happening?"
oh yeah, and I honestly, that was the perfect line to end this episode on. Let's
Mhm.
fuck some shit up.
Yes.
You know,
Time to fuck some shit up. Yes. I loved it. I thought that was worth it, although I we said before, what is it gonna take to turn Mercer, right? What is it gonna
hmm
take? And I do think, like I said earlier, he was kind of changing by degrees, probably with
yeah,
every conversation he had. But I think, though, now I'm not a comic book reader, but I had heard others say that Mercer was like turned way sooner in the comics to like
Probably.
right. So I think some people were frustrated by that, but I was okay with it because I feel like I knew eventually it would happen. It was
Mhm.
just how long is this going to take? Like
Right.
how many people are going to have to talk to him before he, turns the corner.
Mhm.
And then when we find out that he knew that Princess was among the people that were taken and he's like, "Yeah, I know." I'm like, it's got to be more than that, right? I kind of
Right.
knew but didn't know. You know what I mean?
Right. I was like, I mean, there's this part of me that goes, "Oh, oh, you cannot go so completely off the rails that, everything that has gone on is completely leaving him unmoved.
Right.
Nobody, believe can believe in law and order above and beyond justice to that extent."
He's just good at keeping the cards
Stoic.
close, right? He
Mhm.
knows how to hide his emotions really well.
Oh yeah. And here's the thing. I mean, he's the hero of the people. His picture is everywhere.
Mhm.
Everyone knows who this guy is.
Yeah.
So if Mercer says, "No, this is the line," the people are going to go, "Yeah, yeah, that's right. There, the line's right there. I see it." You
Right.
know.
He's like their Captain America, right? Their
Mhm.
superhero. And he will turn and take people with him. He will take soldiers that follow him.
Mhm.
People will follow him.
Mhm.
It's going to be a mess. So between what's going on there at the Commonwealth and things that are going on at the outpost,
Mhm.
somehow I bet you in no time they'll be communicating with each other and building up more of a resistance against
Mhm.
the few
My
soldiers that stick, to the line of the letter.
my guess is they are going to leave, like, the women and the ones that aren't capable, there at Alexandria, and they're gonna head back to the Commonwealth with with the soldiers that um turned on the the warden.
Oh, kind of like we've secured this area, we're gonna go
Mhm.
back
Mhm.
type thing.
I think that
Well,
I mean, so we have to extract our people from the herd of walkers, or have them die, one or the other. But my guess is no later than the first half of the this next episode, the people that are everyone that's gathering at Alexandria will be heading back. Will be in the Commonwealth or heading back there anyway,
mhm.
because there has to be. I mean, unless they're planning on completely drawing this out to the very last second, I'm pretty sure the fall of the Commonwealth with um what's her name is the governor is going to have to take place by the end of this next episode.
Yeah, I'd like to think that we're done with the Commonwealth,
Mhm.
as far as, like, opposing them, like, we've wiped them out, we're done.
Mhm.
We start over, we have our whatever they need to do,
Right.
but
So
Pamela is dealt with.
right. So I'm pretty sure that by the end of next episode, that whole the so we'll have like the uprising going on with the Mercer and his group, and the people from Alexandria gathering and heading back, and you know I kind of because here's what I'm kind of thinking: if they bring back a enough people from Alexandria back to the Commonwealth, and they show up with people that they've been told are dead, have left, whatever. Whatever final hold Pamela may think she has on this community will be gone.
Oh, yeah, because people will be, reappearing that were on that wall of missing people.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen? Um,
Mm.
and so yeah, that's my guess that it's going to be whatever happens. It's going to be the everyone that was at Alexandria that can make it back will show up, and that's going to be the final straw because there's too many missing people. You know what I mean? And
I wonder if never mind, I lost my train of thought. Never mind. It's
you're
gone.
gonna take the train back.
No, I don't know. It's gone. Oh, wait, here it is. I wonder if we'll actually ever feel like there's more than 500 people at the Commonwealth. Will they actually give us a scene like at the end when they've defeated her or
I don't know.
somewhere where we actually feel like there are a lot of people there?
I don't know. I'm kind of hoping so, but I don't know. It's hard to say.
Because it feels like we're on like par with like taking out Negan's old group, you know? Like
Hmm.
there's a lot of them, but not
I mean,
hundred, a thousand of them.
honestly, we've probably seen more soldiers at this point than we've seen citizens,
Yeah.
truthfully.
Mhm.
But you can tell, I mean, just by the way the city is run. And I mean, I think probably the most people we've seen, to kind of give us an idea of how crowded and how many people were in this city was when they had the governor's ball.
Oh yeah, that was a pretty packed scene.
So we've got, it's all packed with the rich and the wealthy and the movers and the shakers. And then they've got all the help. And then they were showing them, the workers, in the back areas, and how crowded it was and the amount of food. And then when they panned outside, they've got all the people that were, the looker-ons, princess among them. And
Yeah, that was a couple hundred people at least.
yeah. So, but that's probably, just the crowds that they were
Mm,
showing at that on that episode is probably the most that they've ever really indicated how many people might be there.
right. I don't know. I just call me picky. I just want to see one. I mean, they're able to show hordes and hordes and large hordes, huge amounts of walkers because of computer
Hmm.
generated stuff. Like, why can't you
Right.
just show me 1,000 people somewhere? That's still like not even close to 50,000. But I just wanted to feel like a lot of people have taken over
Hmm.
the city or town or whatever they're calling it. I don't know. I want to see like an uprising. I want to
I
see
get that.
something wild.
Oh, I get that. I mean, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
In the comic books, it's pretty much a bloodless coup. So, mostly it was just enough people began to realize in the base of, with the help of Mercer, they went, nope, we're done.
Yeah, I don't think it will be any fighting because these people aren't built like that. But
Mhm.
like, they tried to have a protest. Why not a bunch of people yelling or a lot of people, I don't know, throwing rocks? I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Right,
they're not definitely going to be shooting up the streets because these people don't roll like that. They don't even have weapons of their own.
right. So yeah, like I said, my assumption is they will have this whole thread wrapped up next episode, and then the final episode is just going to be the wrap up of their journey.
I still want my time jump.
I know, and we
I
might
want
get
it.
it.
I think if you end this without a time jump, I'm going to be so annoyed because I don't know. I just feel like if some of the theories we had about why, people leave this group and how they disband,
Hmm.
if those kids, the core kids are older, just a little older, 5 or 6 years, right? It doesn't have
Hmm.
to be 15 years, like small, it doesn't take much to get a 13-year-old to 18.
Right.
Um, then I could feel like a lot more relaxed. Like, why would, if Gerald's being taken away somehow, some way, and, Maggie and Negan leave, and a couple more people are going to die, a couple of our main adults are going to die. Like, I just can't see them leaving these kids at the age they are at the
Right.
end of this final
And
episode. It just doesn't seem right.
right. And I'm kind of at this point, I think that there will be a time jump. I think they'll get them at least to teenagers. It's Judith that's been doing the introductions,
Mhm.
and kind of like last night, or yeah, last night's introduction, she was talking. She basically parroted um, Ezekiel's speech to the soldiers.
Yeah.
Um, you know, it doesn't gotta be this way. Essentially,
Right.
we're
Mhm.
choosing this,
Mhm.
and so I kind of at this point it's almost like she's telling a bedtime story.
Yeah, she's reading a story to someone about
Hmm.
or telling a story to some people about their journey.
Yeah. So I do think during that final episode, the wrap up, it would make sense at this point. So we know that Herschel is still there. Um, they could do like a 5-year time jump, get these kids into teenagers. It doesn't really, the adults, it's not really going to affect how they look too much. I mean, it's 5 years,
Yeah.
you
Once
know?
you get past a certain age, unless you're smoking crack or something, I mean, you're
Right.
not gonna age like that in 5 years.
Exactly. So it's, aging up 5 years or so isn't going to affect Maggie, Negan,
No,
Daryl.
it won't.
Um, but I could see them, basically, the community grew and we connected and the train and Daryl left. I finally told my secret to Daryl about my dad, and he left to go look for Michonne, and that's when he gets picked up by the CRM. I mean, that would make
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and Maggie and Negan went to New York because I don't know, some whatever, something happened. But again,
Yeah.
I'm almost getting the feeling that when I listened to her talk, especially last night's, it felt like a bedtime story,
Mm.
something you tell to younger kids. This is the
So,
story
whose
of
young kids
us.
could she be talking to, I wonder?
Could be hers.
Well, not in 5 years.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it could be other kids and younger kids from
Mhm.
other people.
Mhm.
I could see her maybe becoming a teacher.
Maybe.
And talking about this is the story of us. This is how our community came to be.
Oh, I could see that. That could be cute.
So,
Hmm.
um, I kind of noticed it, in previous episodes, but really last night, it really had that, you're telling children a story
Mhm.
feel to it. This is our origins. This is the story of us. Um, and I can, if they have a time jump in there, again, that frees up Maggie, Negan, Daryl to go do whatever it is they're doing, you know, because at that point the kids
Yeah.
are grown-ups.
Mhm. Because, I mean, I think I can't remember when now, the time has kind of got lost on me, but at some point I had heard rumors or read an article or something where it says, Daryl just shows up in France, like, he doesn't know how he got there, he just
Hmm.
is there. I'm like, "Okay, how are you gonna explain that? Like, how is that gonna make sense?" Maybe he goes off when they're older in search of something and bam, here I am. I don't know. It's just
Right. But we do know that,
yeah.
throughout this entire thing, um, Judith has kept the secret of why Michonne left.
Yep.
And I have a feeling that she is going to tell Daryl why Michonne left.
And now he's off to look for them in that same way, and he ends up
Yeah.
finding trouble and finding himself somewhere else maybe.
Hmm. And I think that's going to be the setup for Daryl leaving. I have a
Hmm.
secret to tell you.
Yeah, and I could see that if Judith is 18 or 19 years
Hmm.
old. Not what is she now? 13 or 12 or something
Yeah,
around
she's a
there?
she's a young teenager.
Yeah.
She is the oldest. Her and her, Herschel and all the little ones. She's the oldest of that group. Grace.
Oh,
You know,
yeah. Grace
so
can't do anything without
yeah, I know.
her help.
But I
Yeah.
could see, I could see Judith, being like a a teacher, or it being telling the story at like an anniversary thing, you know, to commemorate how they went from just being the Commonwealth to being this community, how the people were saved, and they built this up, and yada yada. I could see that.
I can see it. I don't know if that's what we'll get, but I can see it. If it's
Mhm,
definitely feel good, right? It is feel
mhm.
good. It
Because
would
that would really
explain a lot.
nicely wrap up a lot of things, and
Mhm.
she, if they go into that final episode, it could be her just the telling the story, so to speak, rather than having, they have the time jump, and whether it's to a group of kids, or a bicentennial, or whatever, you know some celebration or whatever of her telling the story. um she can say, I finally told Daryl the secret, and he left to find my mom and dad, and um Daryl and or Maggie and Negan have gone to New York to go find the cure, or something, or to find out the secret of the climbers.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Yeah, it would.
Um, and you know the trains connected our communities, and we've built them all up, and look at us go, rah rah rah.
Happily ever after. Skip
Yeah,
off into the sunset. Yay.
and if they did something like that, I mean, I think I if they did something like that, they could really give us a good, satisfying ending.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah. I
if they
agree
did
with
it,
you, but I just don't
don't know that they're going to do that. I'm just saying that.
yeah,
I
they
know.
have surprised us before in a not in a good way.
Yeah, I know. Now, I have heard from the actor. I've heard things from the actors and stuff. And the general consensus is you're going to be happy with the ending.
I think
So,
most of the actors were, but I actually saw an article where the guy Kari, I can't think of his last name, the guy that plays Ezekiel,
hmm
he did not spoil what the ending was for his character, but he did say he was not happy with the ending for his character.
mm,
He didn't say what it was, but he just said, yeah. Someone asked him, "Oh, are you happy how the journey went and how things ended up for your character?" And he said, "No, I'm not."
oh, I see. I hadn't seen that one.
Yeah, and I think he did go on to elaborate kind of like how with so many talented people, everyone can't get everything, everyone can't have all the screen time, because it's
Right,
a ensemble cast, right?
right, right.
So, yeah, it just seems like he wasn't too thrilled with how things ended for his character. Now, I will be curious to see what that is
hmm
because I know he was on your death list,
Yeah, and
huh?
if he dies, I'm pretty sure that'll be, an unsatisfying ending
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
him. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
especially if he dies in a stupid way.
Yes. I
The
mean, after
cancer
that
came
great
back.
speech he gave and how he kinda stood up, I just hope he makes it through.
Yeah, and then he keels over from he has an aneurysm or something from the surgery. I don't know.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. I mean, that would be a very unsatisfying ending for him.
Yes, it would. You did all this stuff and that's how they kill your character? Oh, that would be the worst.
It would be. I hope that's not the ending they give him, but if that's the first thing that came to mind. They just gave him a really stupid death.
Mm. Gosh. Or trips over something and falls and hits her head. I mean,
Right.
something dumb. Like, I hope that's not
Exactly.
the case. Like, oh, come on. Don't do him dirty like that.
The cancer came back and they couldn't do anything about it, or
Oh.
something like that.
Oh gosh, now I'm wondering what that is. I'm gonna be paying close attention to his character for the next episode,
hmm
especially.
But they did give him his hero moment.
Yeah,
So they did give him that. So anything that happens after this, it's you know,
yeah.
stupid writers.
Ugh, those writers, dang it! They should
I
have
know,
listened
right?
to us years ago. We could have fixed this whole show.
I know, right? So, but no, I mean, overall, I was very satisfied with this show, or with this episode.
Yeah, I don't really have any big complaints,
Mm-mm.
it was good.
Yeah. So, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the next episode, but I have decided I'm going to wait until Sunday. Um,
Yeah, I think I'm going to wait as well. Although I almost saw something, I'm like, "Oh no, stop it." But I'm really gonna try to avoid it. I'm really gonna try to wait to get as close to the weekend as I possibly can.
mhm.
So,
And I'm trying to make, because again, we all know that the final episode is not going to release early.
right. So then we'd have even longer to wait if we watch that
Hmm.
episode early.
And so, and I really want to, this the second to last episode, I want to make sure that I watch it just shortly before we, like at least no great or no longer than like the night before our show, so that I
Mhm.
can still have that it be fresh in my head, and be excited about it. Hopefully,
Mhm.
cross fingers crossed.
Yeah.
You know, so yep,
It's a plan.
it is a plan.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off because I usually watch it sooner than I want, and then I have to watch it a second time because the details have kind of left me
Dated.
after a couple of days.
Hmm.
So I'm with you on this one, Lisa. I'm gonna definitely wait until the weekend at least. If I
Hmm.
can make it to Sunday night, great. But I'm gonna at least wait till the weekend at the very least.
I mean, I will be real truthful. If we
Hmm.
were not doing this show, oh, I would have watched every one of these episodes
Oh yeah,
before the
absolutely.
the minute they hit. Um, but since you know when you rewatch a show, it's fine, but you can't recapture that
So
same excitement.
exactly, those initial feelings have left. Like it's
Mhm,
settled. Whatever feelings you were feeling have settled down.
mhm,
So if it was joy, sadness, anger, whatever, they've all settled after a few days.
mhm,
So it's hard to kind of pull that back up again.
exactly. So, yep, definitely
Yeah.
waiting, and I'm gonna be real truthful. For probably the final episode, I may just rearrange my schedule so that I can watch it like Monday afternoon,
Mhm.
and so when we do the show, it won't be more than a couple of hours between watching it and talking about
Oh,
it.
that's a good idea. You're gonna have to really shut everything off,
Oh, I
like
know.
all social media from like Sunday evening through when we record, really.
I know. So I'm debating between, if I can do that, if I can toe that line.
Mhm.
Um, but I definitely won't watch it any sooner than Sunday evening.
All right.
So
Okay, excitement. 2 more to go.
I know.
Yes. All right, I think we're done. What do you think, Lisa?
I think we are done, dear.
All right, so it's been a fabulous conversation. If you are still here, we appreciate you for listening to the entire episode. Please hit the like and subscribe button before you leave. We will catch you here, same time, same place next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye, guys.